welcome. Guess what? It's Trek season already. Yeah, I blinked a couple months ago and boom, we're here. Treks have already started. There are crews on the trail right now at Philmont. So welcome to this month. What month is it? June? I think it's June. The June 2025 Philmont Trek Talk live chat where our goal really is we've got an expert panel assembled to help you get all the information you need, answer all the questions you have to have the absolute best trek that you possibly can at Philmont Scout Ranch or anything else that you want to do there. Oh, and we have another person who was hiding in the green room, but we can't see. So anyhow, hi, I'm Jeff. I'll be your tour guide this evening. And let's see, scouting-wise, I am recently the former skipper of Sea Scout Ship 4019 in Burlington, North Carolina. I do come out to Philmont and play with the Dirt Scouts on occasion. They do allow that, which is very gracious of them. And I've been to Philmont on treks 5 times and a couple other times to visit. Over to Scott.
Over to Scott.
Yes.
Scott O'Mary, Plano, Texas, 259. Unfortunately, I do not have a Philmont trek this summer, but I will be there August 8th for faculty on the Philmont Leadership Challenge at the Rayado Ridge. So I'm looking forward to spending 2 weeks out there. And Kathleen, I don't know if you're going to be open as late as the August 8th, but that's when I'm showing up.
I'll look for you.
Okay, Mark.
Intensifiers.
Mark, you're up.
Oh, we're not hearing him.
Nope.
All right, maybe I need to put that other one back on. No, is that where your audio is on the other device, Mark? Oh, I heard something.
Over to Rob.
Speak.
You hear
We'll
it?
just leave both of you up here. We're getting video on one and audio on the other, so I'm just going to leave them both up here.
Okay. So anyway, Mark Scwheer, 9-year Philmont staff member, many Phil Treks, PSA life member. I just spent a lot of time there.
Yeah. All right. Welcome. Rob?
All right. Rob Smith from the Greater St. Louis Area Council, just like Mr. T, and High Adventure chair for Troop 85 in O'Fallon, Illinois. And I run highadventurescouting.com occasionally when I have the time. So, yeah, that's it.
All right. Welcome to the program. Now, Mr. T.
Yeah, Darrel Tadsen. Yeah, Darrel Tadsen, St. Louis Area Council contingent coordinator. Been out here a couple of times in the last few years, and I have a couple of special guests with us this evening. First of all, we are coming to you from the inner sanctum of Burrito Banquet. We are in the trailer. So, and I'd like to introduce Kathleen, the owner proprietor of Burrito Banquet, and she can give a promo for her business.
I'm Kathleen Smiley, proud owner of the Burrito Banquet, and I am a lover of Philmont and all the scouts that come and see us. All of Cimarron has pitched in something for the Philmont Stafft Scholarship Program. You can find that on my Facebook page. This year, well, actually for the last 3 years, I've donated burritos for life. So if you buy that, you get burritos for the rest of your life.
Oh my. But you got to come get them.
You got to come get them or just donate the money. It's good for the kids. And I got bunches of new games here. Already having some troops in. And I love what I do. And thank you for letting me be a part of your treks.
Well, we thank you for letting us use your facility, and we're happy to have you.
Yeah.
And
anything I can ever do for you all, you just let me know.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I also have here with me John Bear from Logistics at Philmont, and he can take it away and finish the introduction or whatever. We're gonna sit down.
Okay, we're going to sit down. All right, I'm John Baker. 53 years ago, I came to Philmont for the first time. 3 years ago, I got to re-meet my ranger from 53 years ago,
Wow.
and we became pretty cool friends. She actually comes out now and works a couple of weeks each summer at the museum. So I've been on staff now. This is my 8th summer. Would be 9 if it hadn't been for COVID. And I'm just here to kind of give you a few things that are going on around the ranch. And I was actually just kind of perusing through the posts on Trek Talk and was going to touch on a couple of those subjects. So
Go ahead.
all right. So the first thing is we still have bear bags. Okay. People do not need to bring their own bear bags. We will make sure that you have all the bear bags that you need. So you don't need to go out and buy bear bags. End of discussion.
Okay, but so the discussion was that they're like micro bags or something now. Is that true, or they're normal
smaller
bags?
than what they used to be, but they're not micro bags. So they are smaller than what they were. I think we still have some of the old ones as well.
But the gunny sacks from 15 years ago are gone.
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
we're using the plasticky burlappy type stuff.
Okay.
All right. Ground claws on tents. Yes. Everybody should have a ground cloth under their tent. Not only does it protect your tent, it's another layer against wet ground. And more importantly, we have these critters out here that carry hantavirus. And if you pitch your tent where a little mini bear has done his business or her business, you could grind that into the bottom of your tent. And the next thing you know, you're breathing that stuff in. So the ground claws are important, even if you're bringing your own tent. Okay. I did see a comment where somebody's ranger told them to leave the bear and to leave the ground claw behind. That was not right. All right. Birthdays on the trail. Philmont cannot provide special things for birthdays on the trail. We're going to have 18,000 campers this year. There are in a little over 2 months. So that means if you divide 18,000 by 9 or 6 or whatever, we could have 3,000 birthdays on the trail. All right. That's a lot of birthdays. So if you want to bring treats, I told a woman this morning that I talked to on the phone, we used to carry a little Twinkie or something in a Tupperware or a butter tub and put a candle in with it and have a little celebration. If you're at a camp that's doing a campfire, we did this one year. I was ahead of a kid by 1 day, and I left the cake with the camp, and they actually presented it to him at the campfire the next night. So you can be creative. Please do not iCamp stuff to the backcountry. That is really for employees only. And if whatever you ship out there happens to smell good, it may not be there by the time your crew gets there. So let's see. A couple of more administrative things. If you are arriving in various different vehicles, some people coming on the train, some people coming by plane, whatever, please try to coordinate your arrival to the Welcome Center as best you can. We end up with crews with 2 or 3 people showing up hours before, and they're just sitting there with nothing to do. If you have any replacement food items, please get those to logistics as soon as possible. Make sure that everyone that has special food comes at the same time, and we need the crew leader, anybody who the food is for, and an advisor. It does not have to be the lead advisor. And the last thing I have is anyone 18 years or older is required to bring an ID and go to registration, even if they're registered as a participant.
In that 18 to 21 year.
Anybody over the age of 18.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and if you are 17 when you get to Philmont, we will consider you to be 17 until you leave Philmont. you don't suddenly become this terrible thing that nobody wants to be around. So that's a rule that's actually across the BSA now. They changed that. So if a 17-year-old shows up on Saturday and he turns 18 on Sunday, he's still 17 as far as we're concerned. Can still sleep, tent with another 17-year or 16-year-old. And
That
that's all
solves the birthday issue too.
Any questions from you guys for John?
John, real quickly, back on the bear bags. I know like Rayada Ridge and Hayward have bear boxes. Is that not a common thing at all? It's mostly bear bags throughout the rest of the
They're using the bear boxes in a lot of camps where there's not a lot of trees. You just can't, short of going out and planting telephone poles to make bear cables. They did that down around, I think it was Olympia. For a few years, they had a couple of poles in the ground, and then they actually drove other poles in to tie off on. But the areas in the burn right now, there's just no place to put up bear cables.
But even if you're using a bear box, you should still put your stuff in a bear bag.
Yeah.
For organization purposes.
Yeah.
So there they are.
Nice pictures. I recognize somebody there.
I don't.
We'll move on.
I'm not allowed to.
That's what I hear.
Yeah. I have been prohibited from recognizing anyone. Yeah. Which I really get a kick out of some of these pictures just for that reason. But anyhow, so where this is Devil's Wash Basin, it says. Okay.
Yep.
And the truck. And we don't need to see the toolbox. That must be installation stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. All
I
right.
have a couple of items that I've noted on, and I would appreciate John commenting on them as we go along.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I think the one issue that my crews, by the way, I just put 5 crews on the trail this morning, so they did the base camp conservation project. And to a person, they were all thrilled to do it. It was a very meaningful project. They were doing stream restoration and slowing down the flow of the stream to cut down on erosion. When they put the temporary dams in, they could immediately see the water building up behind them. They saw the results of their efforts in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So, John, how successful is this?
Well, so far so good. We were not sure how people were going to take to this, but I think we've got over 140 crews that have signed up to do it this summer. There's still some spots open later in the summer for crews. There are particular itineraries that we've identified that will have the option to sign up if there's still a spot available, and they come in a day early. We have to make sure that they've gotten all their base camp processing done on day one. If they don't, then they don't get to do the project. And also by doing that project, they are not required to do their backcountry project. They can if they want, but it's not required.
It will fulfill the requirement for the Arrowhead patch. Now, we'd love it if you do 2 and both of them, but you will do one or the other. It's a 7:30 in the morning. My crew, they were there at 7:30. They were bused to the site. They were back by 10:30, quarter to 11. They cleaned up, had lunch, and were on the 1 o'clock bus out to their starting camp. So it has been way more successful than you guys even thought.
Yeah.
So some of the other items that we've talked about in previous videos, the bank is still open, but it's only open on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You may charge at the merchants with plastic but you will not get money back. You can't pay for your purchase and say, give me $50 extra. So
Do you know if the ATM is at the bank? Is that working?
As I understand it, there's an ATM at Russell's grocery store and the gas station on the east end of town, and that's it.
Okay. So
There
you
is
shut down the
not-
one at the bank. Okay.
Yeah, there is not an ATM on Philmont property.
Right. That one's been gone for 2 or 3 years
Sure.
at least.
So advisors coming out or whoever coming out this summer, you probably should have a fair amount of cash with you, for the miscellaneous. I did notice at the pizza place in town, they got a sign out that says cash only.
Mm.
So they're, that kind of thing. Speaking of some of those establishments, the St. James is open. The dining room is open only through Wednesday through Sunday.
Interesting.
There's what
And-
used to. Go ahead, Jeff.
So I had heard that when the St. James changed ownership, that all the prices went up a reasonably significant amount. And I don't want to beat up the owners because I know how hard it is to not lose money operating an establishment in a very seasonal place. I get that they need to charge. So I'm not throwing shade at anyone. What I wanted everyone to understand is if you have built a stop at the St. James into your cruise budget, and it's going to be a problem if you go over budget, you probably want to check their menu and make sure you can afford to stop there so that you don't get there, charge up a big bill, and then realize, oh no, we went over, and now, the lead advisor's on the hook to pay for it. Like, just check. I'm not giving them a hard time for raising prices. I'm just saying, if you budgeted for the old prices, be ready so you don't get surprised by it.
I did not check the menu and the pricing when I checked on hours.
Yeah.
What people who have been here before knew as the Dragonfly microbrewery. It has changed hands. It's called Dusty. They're open for lunch and supper Thursday through Sunday, and from what I hear from some of the local people that I know, the food is pretty good. It's good.
Well, under the prior ownership, I had the single greatest burger I've ever had in my entire life there. So hopefully they still got the same cook on staff, because that thing was amazing.
The Creamy, that's open. It's on the corner from the Creamy. It used to be a variety store, and it's been closed for a couple of years. They've moved a classic car museum in there. 67 Corvette, some Mustangs, some. I don't know the particulars about admission or any cost. I just know that it's there and it's a place you may go see. As I mentioned earlier, I did see the pizza place yesterday about 11 o'clock. They had a flashing open sign. I do not know their hours, but they appear to be open. The Mercantile, which is just south of the St. James, is open. I don't know the dates, but they're serving breakfast, lunch, and when I drove by at 6:30 tonight, they were still open. So
they're serving dinner, I think, on Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
The Kit Carson down on the east end of town by just past the Dollar General, Family Dollar, they're open breakfast and lunch, and I believe it's every day. I'm not sure. So those are some of the the places, the alternatives that, either before or when you come off the trail. I don't know, John, if you know the bus schedule.
I've seen it posted, and I'll be sure to update that. So what I wanted to show here, I've got a page that I created a few years ago for what to do in and around Cimarron. It's got the map. I'll update the bus schedule if anything has changed on that.
Schedule.
That looks, if that's what you had last year, Jeff, that's the same schedule.
Okay.
And it will start running on the 13th of this month, so Friday.
Okay, good. I've got all of the locations, restaurants, hotels, times of hotels, contact for hotels. I actually reached out to some folks in town a couple months ago and said, hey, can you help me update this? Never heard back from them. So all the stuff that you said about places that are open or not, if you could like send me a note on that, or maybe I'll just have to watch this video back tomorrow to get all those updates, and I'll put them in here. And if anyone knows of anything else that's changed or needs to be added, just let me know and I will update this page. I thought I saw something about the old mill museum as well, posted recently. I don't know if that's open or not, but we'll try to get everything updated so that if anyone has any questions, we'll have a good resource for them.
I did see a note that the Grist Mill Museum is open from 11 to 4 most every day.
11 to 4. Okay, good.
11 to 4, and that's good. And I know you got that list out there, Jeff, but I kind of tried to give you what I've seen current.
Oh, sure. Well, that's what I'm saying is I tried to get it updated and didn't get feedback. So I'll take all of your updates.
I forgot. Burrito Banquet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kathleen is staying open later in the day. She's
11 to 5 every day but Thursday.
So she's cooking more food every night so she can stay open longer.
Wow.
Yeah. She gets up, well, that's partly where she went. She went to bed. She gets up at 3 and starts cooking. So.
Right.
I saw a question on the Facebook page today. Somebody was asking, due to the increase in moisture that Philmont has had in the last month or so, are campfires going to be allowed? John?
Yes. They lifted the fire restrictions last week. So we can have campfires, and we are going to encourage campfires in the backcountry to help. It doesn't seem like a lot, but every campfire helps get rid of some of that clutter on the forest floor that is what fuels the great big fires. And that being said, that can change on a day's notice. So we will always have the most up-to-date information when the crews get out here on that.
But for right now, if you're coming in the next few days, you probably got a pretty good chance of being able to have a campfire in the backcountry.
It is greener out here right now than I have ever seen it. It's just incredible. The fields, the pastures are just as green as can be. We were up at Crater Lake last week, and there's actually water in Crater Lake. For those of you that have ever been there, the lake was probably about, I'd say, at least 50 feet across.
Wow.
In both directions. So pretty cool to see it so green.
Yeah. So along with it being more green from all the moisture, I understand that not only are there more like mosquitoes and things out, but I heard from some folks that were on A-Team, the folks that go out with the chainsaws and tools and clear trails before the season, that they found ticks. They got back and found ticks on their bodies. That is very unusual in my understanding. Like, I had always heard, like, there really aren't hardly ticks at Philmont. So since people have already found ticks on them before the season even started, I'd just put the warning out there. If you're on the fence about taking stuff to keep bugs off of you, maybe lean towards taking it.
I'm
And
gonna
treat your
ask
clothes with
Ron,
permethrin.
Yeah, yeah.
being early in the season and with the moisture, what is the snow situation for Baldy and Phillips?
Oh.
No problems. There's still a little bit of snow on Mount Phillips. There's generally snow on the north side of Mount Phillips well into July, but nothing to impact any treks.
So,
And Baldy, we got back about the second week of May, we got about 5 inches of moisture in 4 days, including the wettest snow I've ever seen. And Baldy went from being almost completely uncovered to having a pretty good cover on it, but it's all gone again. So,
but if you're up there, I'm sure in the shadows, in the trees and so forth, you could still have a snowball fight if you wanted
maybe.
to. Yeah. So, a subject that we've hammered on for several months: height and weight. We're happy to report at this time nobody has been sent home because of that issue. True, we're only on day 2 or 3, but maybe the word has gotten out. I don't know.
Yeah,
We
I hope
actually
so.
we sent a young lady home last year on the first day because of that. So
I spent a half a day observing in Medrechek last summer and saw 3 people just in that morning that I was in there get sent home. So don't play with your weight. Like get a couple pounds under before you get out here.
Right.
Or out there.
Happy to report.
So we have to
For
buy.
right now, people seem to be taking it serious and so forth. That's really it on the talking points items that I've seen in the 3 days that I've been here and observed things going on. Typical operation for those who have been here before. The advice that I have is, when you show up at the Welcome Center, they're here to help you and give you the straight skinny and what they expect. And, don't rely on, well, when I was here 22 years ago as a youth, we did it this way. Well, this is the way we're doing it today. Philmont has a few years of experience doing this stuff, and they probably got it figured out. So
we recorded some videos with Kara, who was running the Welcome Center last year. I believe she's back doing that again this year.
She is back this year.
And what she covered in those videos were things that you should have in your day pack or easily accessible when you get to the ranch. I'm going to try to remember to find that video and post it in the group where she was talking about that. Things that people sometimes forget, and then they have to go dig through luggage, and it slows down the process of getting around, like your medical forms, any prescription meds that you have to show them at med recheck, any IDs for ID checks for people who are 18 or older. I'm trying to I'm sure there's some other things that I'm forgetting. So I'll try to find that video and post it.
make sure you bring your rain gear. It's been raining just about every afternoon somewhere. It poured here in yesterday afternoon for a good hour. Of course, typical Philmont, you really couldn't tell it had rained an hour later. But the moisture is really soaking in.
The stream, as far as you know, the streams in the backcountry for drawing water.
Oh, yeah. We've got water in places I've never seen water before. So, but we're still, there are certain camps. It doesn't matter how much rain we get, we consider them dry. One of those being Schaefer's Pass. That's the one that everybody coming in over the tooth comes through, and they'll say, well, there was water there the last time I was here. Well, it's dry. Just consider it dry. If there happens to be a little trickle coming out of the spring, if you can even find it, so be it.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually saw Schaefer Spring springing a few years ago, and I was in disbelief. I thought I was lost, like I must be in the wrong campsite. But it's the thing of legends to actually see it running. I do want to say a couple things, like from a housekeeping standpoint here. Thank you for all the folks who are asking questions. I'm not ignoring you. We're covering some things first, then we're going to dive into all of the questions that have come in. If you have any additional questions, if you haven't put your question in yet, please feel free to do that, and we'll try to answer those to the best of our ability, or I'll let Rob make something up, whatever.
I'm good at that.
Yeah, stick with what you're good at, right?
You mean treat the ground cloth with permethrin. So there you go.
That's not a bad idea. And well, I saw someone
asked about that. Yeah.
I saw someone asking in the group a little while ago about treating. Has a youth coming out that is very susceptible, like a bug magnet, and so I've treated everything but the underwear. And my reply was, I absolutely treat my underwear. That's the most important part. That's the place I least want to find bugs, right? So, my understanding, and do your own research, because I'm not a scientist or qualified to tell you what's safe and unsafe. But my understanding is that permethrin type treatments, once they're dry, they're safe. Like once they've dried on your clothes, you can get them wet again. It's not going to mess with you. But do your own research. Be sure you're happy with what you do. But I treat my socks. I treat my underwear, my T-shirt, everything. Yeah. Okay. What else do we have?
Yeah.
From, I think, John and my standpoint, that's kind of the current update. Let's see what the audience has to say.
All right, let me scroll back through and find. We did have a question early on.
Cloth, yes. You need to bring those, both if you're bringing your own tent or if you're using a fill tent. What we used to do is we would just go to the hardware store and get like a 3 mil painter's drop cloth and cut it into the cloth. The ground cloth should be 5 feet by 7 feet. If it's a little bigger than the tent, you just fold it under. I did see somebody commenting about putting the ground cloth inside the tent. That's really not doing a whole lot to protect your tent. So, and then the nice thing about those drop cloths, by the time we got done, they were all beat up. We just threw them in the dumpster.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people like Tyvek. You probably want to wash that beforehand. And I would ask, please don't tell your scouts to go steal them off of job sites. And be careful. Like in my area, if you walk onto a job site, start asking questions, they may swing a hammer at you or call the police, or swing the hammer, then call the police, or swing the hammer and run away and leave you laying there. So just go buy the Tyvek if you want to use Tyvek. I use the polycryo or window film, which I like because it's super light, pretty durable until it gets a snag, and then it rips real easy. So I don't recommend that for people who aren't attentive to their gear. And someone was telling me that they heard someone advising the scouts to leave like a little front porch on the plastic out front, which is a great way to collect water and get it like right up under so it soaks through the floor of your tent. So like John said, please tuck the plastic under. Like if you want to push it out to put your boots on or whatever when it's not raining, just tuck it up under before you go to sleep, you know? Oh, the last thing I was going to say, and I did this, man, I messed up. Last year, I grabbed what I thought was my balled up polycryo ground cloth. It was actually the scraps from where I had made a couple for other people and just balled it all up. I thought I threw that away. I didn't. That's what I brought. So I did not have a usable ground cloth, but I had a space blanket. That space blanket turned out to be the exact right size and was a perfect cheap. It was 99 cents. It was the right size. It was dirt cheap, and it worked amazingly under my little trekking pole tent. So there's another option for you.
And everybody could hear you rolling over all night long.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I get up to pee every 32 minutes, so they were going to hear me anyway.
The other thing about the space blanket, if you put the silver side up towards your tent, it does reflect body heat.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt that. I was so toasty. It was amazing. All
When
right.
you were here, it was pretty toasty anyway.
Yeah, a little bit. Except at Baldy Town. It was Haley up there.
So speaking of the fill tents, maybe John knows this question. I know every year at the end of the season, you guys sell some of your used tents. Do you have any? I'll be there at the end of the season. I'm interested in picking a few. I don't know if they're going to be available in August.
I honestly don't know, but they usually sell some at the end of every season. We were kind of scared back in May because of the possibility of not being able to get stuff. And so, but I believe our tents are in. I know we got our new aluminum pots not too long ago. So we've got plenty of tents and we got plenty of pots.
Good.
There was a nice
Yes.
little post by one of the former Rangers who is actually working for, help me, John, who's the manufacturer?
MRS. MSR. Mountain Safety Research. MSR. I said
MSR.
it wrong. Sorry.
Yeah. And he's actually helping design the new Philmont tents going forward. Pretty cool.
That was very cool. Okay, so that was a former Ranger. I think she said early 2010s or something. I don't remember exactly. So let's talk about Rangers. Caden asked, good evening from Oklahoma. Ideas for Ranger gifts. Can you give gift card, shirts, and patches? Who wants to tackle this?
We had an extra shirt printed of our crew and gave them that and a couple other things, but that was it.
I would say as long as it's something nominal, like $10 or $20 most, that's fine. If you start going crazy, I think that's a little much. T-shirts are always nice. Some Rangers like them. Some, by the end of summer, you got a collection of 15, and what do you do with them all? But like maybe a little certificate to go in to hikers or someplace in town, or something just nice like that is kind of cool.
Take them down to the cantina and buy them an ice cream and a soda. They're not looking for gifts.
Well, by definition, they shouldn't be accepting them.
And that's kind of the hard part is I certainly don't want to rain on anyone who wants to show appreciation. I will highlight that Rangers are just one of the staff members that are going above and beyond on a daily basis to make sure you're having the best trek possible. I do think it's kind of odd that, I get they're the ones that go out with the crew and everything, but feels kind of weird that people give them money and gifts and ignore the rest of the staff. But they are not supposed to take money. They aren't supposed to take gifts at all. Everyone knows that they generally won't get in trouble if they accept a shirt or something. I actually had a chief ranger a couple years ago who said, it's actually become a problem how many T-shirts get thrown away at the end of the season that we have to then deal with, because the Rangers go home and they don't have room for everything, and they're never going to wear those shirts again anyway, so they throw them away. So that person requested that I put the word out, please stop giving Rangers shirts. And then when I say it, then I always have former Rangers say, well, I kind of like the shirts. And it's like, you can't win, right? So just use your judgment. If you want to show appreciation, maybe take a couple things in the back country and show appreciation. Spread it around. I don't want to say don't do things for your Ranger. I will say there's a whole bunch of other people helping as well. Be nice to everyone, but be very modest.
yeah.
How about a good pair of
When you do your comments at the end of your track, mention the people that were exceptional by name. And Jeff, thank you for saying what you just said. There's going to be about 1,200 seasonal staff out here this summer. No one person has a job that is any more important than anyone else's job. There are people that get up at 4:00 in the morning to feed the crews. There's people at outfitting services that are packing trail meals every day. The photographers that run around and take pictures, and just on and on. The backcountry people that are, living in, they're having the time of their lives, but I don't know that I want to go out in the backcountry for weeks at a time without a shower, So it is a team effort. And I always make it a point when I put my dishes in the dishwashing area to thank the kid that's back there hosing down the dirty dishes. Thank the people that are serving you the food. And that just goes a whole long way.
Especially the people in those positions that are accustomed to being ignored. That's something that I have tried to do the past few years. Is everyone who does anything for me, I try to say, make eye contact, not just a flip, thanks and walk off, but I want them to know I really mean it, right? And I think that can make a difference for people. So all throughout the ranch. Be nice. It makes everything better.
And obviously, the ranger is the most visible person, or that they have contact with, 2.5 days.
Yeah.
But yeah, even to John in logistics. Rescheduling something like when the train is scheduled to be 5 hours late.
Yeah.
That's daily, though, isn't it?
Actually, knock on wood, the train has been reasonably on time every day since crews started showing up. Usually it's as soon as crews start getting on the train that they have all kinds of problems. That being said, they've warned us ahead of time. Daryl's group, the day they go back, the train is already scheduled to be 4 hours late. So,
yeah, we got a notice they had to do required track maintenance, and they are rescheduling the train. Instead of picking up at 4:30, we are at almost 10 o'clock at night.
Gosh.
And that's if they're running on the new time. Time.
And then if they're even on time.
So
it's nice that they pre-scheduled that delay for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you've ever been here and you've ever taken the train and you look at the Amtrak schedule, the arrival and departure time is 1 minute.
Yeah.
You are not putting 100 Boy Scouts on the train in 1 minute.
Right.
So.
Okay, let me do a time check here real quick. Oh, we got 15 minutes left. We got a lot of questions, so I got to stop rambling. I want to show you guys the Philmont Trek Talk tags, bag tags. You can hang it off your belt when you're around camps, or off your backpack, shoulder strap, or whatever. Little carabiner ought to fit through there. This is a 3D printable item. The file is publicly available out there on Thingiverse. And you can this one is for the crew of 6159G, if you can read that up there. I'm actually putting these in a box and sending them to Daryl. I'm going to send a few extras. So if you can track Daryl down, he may have some cloth ones that he made. He may have some spare ones in a few days. He may have some spare ones that I made to give out. Along with some that this packet is going to a ranger that requested some. So I've got a few of those headed out for people to self-identify. If you want to identify that you're in the group so other people will talk to you who are in the group, then wear it. Yeah, if you don't want people to talk to you because you're in the group, then don't wear it and don't worry about it. You can, okay, we've always done blue. That's our color. It's a Facebook blue, I call it, because we're a Facebook group and Facebook's a blue theme. You can print it in a single color and then use a Sharpie to fill in the other parts. You can, I printed some in, when I just got lazy and didn't want to change the filament in the printer, I'd just print white and then put blue letters on it. So you can do whatever you want. I saw someone did pink ones today. You know, whatever you want to do, you can do that. Okay, moving on. Let's see.
Let take the question on the screen. Let John take it.
So if you go into the gateway on your roster page,
advisor only.
Yes, and it's only the lead advisor or the reservation contactor, the only two people that can get into the gateway. Then if it is available to you, there will be a button. If it was available to you and it's already filled up, it will tell you that.
Oh, interesting.
And if somebody decides they don't want to do it, they can deselect and then it becomes available for a different crew. But we don't have any way of notifying people when that's going on.
And
so there's no waiting list or anything like that.
Yeah, there's no wait list. First come, first serve. No wait list. Keep checking.
So one of the other things I guess I should have mentioned that we're doing this year that's brand new is we're calling it stay and play. So crews can arrive 2 or more days early, and instead of spending time up in Southern Colorado getting acclimated, they can actually come to Philmont. We have activities that they can do through the PTC. This is a PTC program. And they can actually do their conservation project on what would be their day 0. And then they're, again, have fulfilled their obligation for their 3 hours of conservation. You can also stay after if you want to. That might come in handy for a crew who's got transportation issues, like if the train isn't running the day you're going home or something like that. And they have other activities available there, like a Tooth of Time hike that you can actually do after your trek. So put in the PTC there.
So, John, that's a separate reservation through the PTC, not through their gateway, correct?
So if you put down that you are staying or you are coming in 2 days early, that flags the PTC to know that they need to contact you.
Oh, okay.
Is that a staff-led trek?
No, it is not. It is self-guided. It's different than the trek, the hike that they do for the PTC participants, where they all go together on a certain day. They're going to basically provide a trail lunch. I believe you can drive yourselves. If you have transportation, you can drive yourselves to the trailhead. They'll give you a map, show you where to go. They will provide the transportation if it's needed. And they've got some other stipulations around it that are different than what we have at base camp. So as long as you've got your basic youth protection covered, then you don't have to have the whole crew go. We've had some crews that only part of them have come early or stayed late, and they're allowed to do that. So the PTC has all the details on that.
So speaking of that, completely off topic, and we don't have a ton of time. So I'm not trekking as of this point. I'm not trekking this summer, but I'll be out in a couple weeks to visit and bring the whole family who hadn't seen Philmont. If I go to the PTC and try to book something to like get them a hike to Lover's Leap or to hike the Tooth or something, do you know if that's an option? And if so, do we need a full medical or just parts A and B just for a day?
I believe that if you are going into the backcountry, you have to have all 3 parts, A, B, and C, of your physical. That would probably fall under the family adventure camp. option, which again, there's information about that on the Philmont website. And I'm sure there's somebody over there at the PTC that would be glad to answer your questions.
Good.
That's a good question.
And to the question on the screen, I personally, my recommendation would be not to schedule a villa tour on your day one. You're going to have a day full of in-processing, medical recheck, photo, food pickup, all of that stuff. You know, you can't go partway through day one and tell your ranger, "Oh, I got to go at 10:30 for my villa tour."
Daryl, the way I'm reading that is their day one. They're talking about the day one there at Philmont,
right?
Not their Trek day one.
If it's their first day that afternoon, they can schedule an afternoon tour on day 0.
Yeah, I was going to add. Yeah, if you're coming day early, what day 0? Absolutely, schedule it for then, but not day one when you're doing the in processing.
So if you're a 6/11 crew, which is tomorrow, do not schedule anything on June 11th. That day is not yours.
Yeah, good.
And the next day, June 12th,
you're on the trip.
You could be on a 9 o'clock bus out of base camp.
So, but if you can figure out how to make it happen, I'm going to click the button here. Y'all, put your hand up if you can hear the audio.
No.
Nope. Okay, so I have put, oh no, I need to stop that. I have put the link to that video. It is Harold from the museum talking about when he recommends that crews do the via tour. And spoiler alert, he says do it before the trek if you can schedule it at all, because the information that they get is going to change their perspective on the things that they see and experience all around the ranch, how they interact with the people in the interp camps who are telling the history of all the people who were there before, at the open and closing campfires, all of that stuff. It'll be more impactful if they have that information ahead of time. So balance those two things. Certainly you have to be able to fit it in, but if you can do it ahead of time, it'll open their eyes and maybe make them notice some things they wouldn't have seen otherwise when the crew's in the backcountry.
We got 8 minutes. Let's keep rolling.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
I'm looking at all the comments over here. If anyone has anything else, go ahead while I'm scrolling comments. Oh, okay. That's a good point. The noise of the space blanket will let the crew know when a bear gets me. They'll know, because I'm going to cause some drama when that happens. I'll just, no shame here.
That just means you left your food in your tent, right? Or you ate in your tent.
Or maybe I'm just that tasty.
Yeah,
let's see. Do you recommend resealing tents before you come out to Philmont? All of ours are less than a year old. Who wants to tackle that?
I would comment, in general, a year old, you're probably okay. But more importantly, how often have you used your tent? Have you been a frequent user?
How much has it been out in the sun?
Yeah.
Because the sun is what really does the number on the tents. It's not the rain. It can get wet all the time, and it's really not going to affect it. It's sunlight that destroys the protection.
I mean, if it's in a bag, in the garage, you're probably okay.
Is it a factory seam tent? Does it really need sealed? That's
the other thing, put it up in the backyard, turn on the sprinkler, and crawl inside and see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever resealed a tent, and I've never had a problem. But if you're doing troop campouts, and even, let's say you do 10 a year outside, that's 20 days maybe, and then summer camp. So you may be using maybe 25 days a year. That's not a whole lot, I don't think.
So let me give you a different perspective on that. The tents that you just described are the ones that make me the most nervous, Rob, because if you're using the same tents for troop campouts that you're using for Philmont, I guarantee you kids have been eating in those tents. So
Oh yeah, I keep our backpack in
clean
my
those
basement.
tents.
Nobody gets to use them unless
If you don't have Philmont specific tents, if you're using general use troop tents, you probably need to do some tech wash or something on them to be sure that they are not bear bait. And then after you wash them, you probably want to do a retreatment. I mean, that's what Philmont does. After every trek, they get washed and then retreated. Do not take a risk with the bear stuff. You approve, John?
Yeah, that that is the last thing you do if you use a fill tent is you wash it. And then it used to be that we would have the campers then refold them and all that, and we don't do that anymore. Now the staff takes care of that, and that way we're sure that the right poles are with the right tents, and we don't have dining fly poles with tents, and we don't have dining flies on tents and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Okay, I don't see any more questions. If I missed anything and anyone's out there and I hadn't answered your question, type it again or throw something at me virtually. Whatever works to get my attention. Anyone else?
Jeff proved that your little comment earlier proved that, before you go, you might want to pull everything out, give it a good look over, make sure it's in operation, in good shape, because for those of us like me who I haven't touched my backpack since last summer, and if I just grab it and throw it in the car and go, I might be disappointed when I get there.
Make sure you remember how to set your tent up.
And my pack cover that I thought was in there with everything wasn't in there, and things like that happen. And
yeah, every time we talk about backpacking, and we do 2 trips a year in our troop, I hand out the Philmont guide on what to take, and make the boys go through that line by line. And they still forget a few things, but it gets them closer. So.
Okay, I'd like to.
Can I add one last thing, Jeff?
Yes.
Daryl's trying to hold up a guidebook to adventure. I think what he's saying is read it.
Well, there's a good gear list in here.
That's the gear list I meant. Yeah, that's the same one. Yep.
So we talked a little bit about water and streams. Due to the tremendous amount of water that we got in May in the form of rain, our backcountry roads were inaccessible for periods of time. So at this time, we are telling crews to treat all water, even at staff camps, unless they have been told by the staff there that they don't have to. We're still waiting on some of the results from the state on our water tests. So we're using abundance of caution here. There's always the argument, or that there's always the debate about filters. You can use a filter if you want, but we still want you to treat the water. Jeff, I know you put something out. It was that last week where there was a thread going on that. The stuff that the micropure gets out, your filter will not. And you don't want to get home to Minnesota or Texas or wherever and spend the next 2 weeks on the toilet.
The good
If
thing
you can make it that far.
It was a good weight loss plan, though.
Yes.
But you could do your colonoscopy right then. You'd be good.
The good thing about it is you won't have the problem out here at Philmont, because the gestation is about 14 days. So when you get back home is when things start happening. So.
Yeah. That was exciting. I like that discussion. Getting people all ready to go out there. We mentioned bears eating people. We mentioned getting Montezuma's revenge on the trail. We get everyone all jazzed up and ready to go. Okay. Anyone have any last minute? We're at 10 o'clock. We were right on time. What else do you guys, Scott's trying to get something out.
I just have one thing that just alert people if they're day zero, if they're showing up a day early, day zero, and they're there the week leading up to July 4th. That is the week that the PTC, the training center, is celebrating their 75th anniversary, and they've got all kinds of different festivities and activities going on across the street. So if that coincides with your plans, take a walk across the street and check it out.
Take a walk on the wild side. Yeah.
Yep.
There's also a
What's the right
rodeo
of
here in town on the 4th of July. So
And that encompasses the whole metro area of Cimarron.
Wow.
That's a pretty large, small area.
The Cimarron Metroplex.
The one day you have a traffic jam.
Listen, I get once a year, I get someone who says something nice about the videos and articles I put up. Jim is that person for this year. Thank you, Jim. I really appreciate that feedback.
Jeff.
Yeah. Let's see. Trying to think, was there anything else? I was looking, I had some notes on the other screen here. Let me pull that back up and check it real quick. If there's anything else from you guys.
I just saw something come across about window plastic.
Yeah, that was from the ground cloth discussion,
Right. Okay.
I think, unless I missed something.
It just came up and you pulled it down in about 20 seconds. So
We mentioned the Old Mill Museum earlier.
Yeah.
If a crew comes in on day zero and has the transportation to get into town and see that, I think that is a really interesting, and that'll give you a whole lot of background on Philmont and the area, and especially on the land grant and how the area was settled.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember I went to that in 90, I think. It was upset when I came back in 17 with my son that I wasn't able to take him there. So it's great that it's open again. Okay. Please spread the word for people. I get people complaining. I tag everyone about this chat every month. I'm not going to stop. Okay. I'm going to do @everyone because Rob gives me a hard time if I don't.
That's right.
I'm going to keep doing that. So if you don't like it, go into the notification settings in Facebook and change it, because we're going to keep doing that, because that's the whole point of this group, is to facilitate this type of discussion. And someone complaining about, scout leadership doesn't listen. Ain't no scout leadership here. It's just us, it's us helping each other. So spread the word that these discussions are more valuable when we have more people here giving input, getting feedback, giving us feedback, all of that. Let's see. Michael's going to be out there in 2 weeks. That's good. We've seen a few people who are about to go out. So for in 2 weeks, I may even bump into some people in 2 weeks. I think we're picking up someone at the ranch on the 25th and probably be back on the 27th or 28th or something. So if you're going to be at the ranch either of those days, look for me. I will likely be wearing this shirt because that's how I roll when I'm in base camp. Unless I want to be incognito, and then I'll dress like Daryl or something. Because I'll blend in with all the official looking people. Okay. We covered everything?
Just chiming in on what you said, Jeff. This panel and our group, we are 100% behind Philmont and support them, but we are not the official word. If a decision has to be made, our recommendation is reach out to Philmont directly. We are a voice, but we are not the authority.
Yeah.
They talk to John. He's the authority, I think. Right?
Well, I'll tell you, I was just going to say, I probably get 20 phone calls every day from people with questions. And I'm sure my coworkers get tired of me being on the phone all the time, but I will spend as much time as I need to explain and answer questions. That's one of the things they pay me to do. So, and I just want to thank you guys for letting me come on and sort of kind of represent Philmont from a little bit different perspective. So I really do appreciate that.
Yeah, and thank you for coming on.
That does not count as cleaning your
No,
dish.
it doesn't.
No.
And
Also,
actually,
No, Sheree, please don't do that.
yeah, you're not allowed to do that. We
You're
don't want
not
to
entitled
contaminate the waterway.
to scream either.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a cow or a horse or a mini bear, knock yourself out. It's your stream.
And John, I will turn to John and say for Jeff and all of us, we do this every month on Tuesday, and there are open invitations for you or anybody from Philmont that wants to come on.
Thank you.
And make comments and clarify things or whatever. Please do. We are here to support, augment, and enhance the program.
We've all got the same mission.
Yep.
That's to get kids out here and get that once in a lifetime adventure.
And for those that are in leadership positions, I heard a ranger comment and said, Philmont is a leadership training ground. The youth can begin to, exercise and take leadership, and, if they fail, there's a lot of resources here to get them back on track. But it's a great place to start spreading your wings. And that comment is kind of directed to the adults in the crew. Let the young people lead.
Oh, yeah. So something that people didn't figure out for the first few years that I wear this shirt, I'd have people in base camp point to their scouts and say, you see that? Don't ask me, ask the crew leader. And I'd pull the adult aside and say, no, this shirt's for you. This is your reminder that you aren't the crew leader, to redirect the scouts to ask the crew leader.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I didn't get that. Some of them didn't appreciate it either, but I've seen too many that need to know. Let
You
the
have that
scout-
effect on people, Jeff. So
I know. It's so many years of working on it, and I finally perfected it. So I think with that, I would welcome everyone to go check out the group. If you found us in video form, please go check out the group, Philmont Trek Talk, and some other stuff. What are we? Prep news and info on Facebook. We have eclipsed 26,000 members, 26,200-ish members in the group now. Welcome to all the new people. We've had a lot of new people lately. So welcome to the group. If you haven't found it yet, come find it.
And we're sorry if we can't address you by name, but
Yeah, all of them. So we're out of time, but just hang on. I'm going to read the names of every group member just to make them feel special.
Add everyone.
Or not.
Add
I
everyone.
think we'll keep that for
Yeah,
now.
Sally, Joe,
Yeah.
Jerry.
Yeah. So is there anything? I think we covered it all. Probably time to shut it down. Is anyone not ready?
hike on.
I'm ready.